Hey guys, this week we're going to be talking a little bit about the heart, learning how to take your pulse so you can see if you're making a difference with some of the exercises that you are doing at home. I'm going to have several different things I'm going to use. This is out of the CK12 book. This is a PowerPoint. Some of it we'll talk about, some of it we'll skip over. And then I'll have you watch a Edpuzzle on how to take your pulse, and then I will have you take your pulse, and then I want you to do 10-15 minutes of exercise, whatever that would be for you, and then take a pulse, and you'll put those two pulse rates in a form. So you'll probably just want to take your pulse, a resting pulse, write that down someplace, and after you do some kind of exercise for 10 minutes or so, or whatever causes you to think that your heart rate's up, and then take your pulse again, and that will be on the Google form for your daily attendance today. So talking about the heart, if you see some of these PowerPoints, if I use this particular book in the future, this is the title page. This is what the agenda is what they're going to be discussing in this PowerPoint. Some of it we will do, some of it we will not talk about. You will learn what aerobic exercise is and why it's important for your heart health. This is kind of something for you to think about. I do now, if we were in class, I'd have you write this down, but this is for you to think about. Would you rather play basketball or soccer, go jogging or go swimming, exercise with a friend or exercise alone, exercise indoors or exercise outdoors, go running or lift weights, exercise with or without music, exercise in the morning, afternoons, or nights, use exercise equipment like weight treadmills during your workout, or not use them at all. So with COVID, there's lots of exercises they have kind of brought forward on the internet because people can't go to the gyms, kids are at home. So there's lots of things you can do. You can walk in place, you can jog in place, you can just get cans of soup or cans of whatever you have, and you can simply just do arm lifts and body curls and lift up with those cans and push them out. There's things you can do like that. You can do stretching exercises. So on the videos that I'll be pushing out, I'll give you some ideas of what to be doing. So why are we worried about exercise? Well, it's because of your heart and your circulatory system. You want to keep your heart healthy. You want to stay in good shape. You want to be able, in case you're ever in an emergency and you have to move quickly, you want to be able to have the body strength and the lung and heart capacity to do so. So the pump that makes your blood circulate is your heart. It's a muscle. It's palm-sized at the center of your cardiovascular system or circulatory system. You will find during health and PE a lot of the books use circulatory system and cardiovascular system kind of interchangeably. Your blood circulates in your vessels, which are like your arteries and veins, to carry important nutrients to the rest of your body. For example, blood carries oxygen from our lungs to our tissues, including our muscles, so they can do work. So the brain is in control of our body functions. The heart here beats, and when it beats, it forces blood through the chambers of the heart. And one type of circulation is called pulmonary circulation, because that is where the deoxygenated blood, or the blood without oxygen, and it has CO2 instead of oxygen because it's picked up as a waste product of your cells breaking down their food. The blood carries the CO2 to your lungs, and you exhale the CO2. And when you take a breath in, oxygen comes into your lung tissue, and your lung tissue is very vascular. It has lots of blood vessels. So it picks up the oxygen and it takes it to the heart. Now, part of that oxygenated blood circulates around through the heart to provide the muscle fibers of the heart with oxygen. Oxygen is used in a chemical reaction to help digest the nutrients. and then to keep your heart muscles oxygenated, having energy. And then the rest of the oxygenated blood is pushed out to the rest of your body, which is called systemic circulation. And as it passes through the body organs, the cells of the body organs pick up the oxygen, and the blood cells then become attracted to the CO2. They pick up the CO2 and they carry it back to the heart, which pumps the deoxygenated blood back to the lungs, and it's a continual cycle. So the heart's very important, and by exercising, you increase that blood flow, you increase your strength of your heart. And so when you're in a situation where you have a child or something that's going toward a road, you have that quick burst of energy to get there before they get hurt. Okay, so exercise is really important, and plus it helps to keep your muscles toned, which helps you have better posture. It affects a lot of different things. Your heart is like any other muscle in your body, such as your bicep. If you work out your bicep, what happens? It gets bigger and stronger, and you can lift heavier weights. So your bicep is your muscle in the upper part of your arm. And most of you know, the more you work out, if you lift weights, a lot of people who have young kids, you build up a lot of body weight packing babies around. I mean, just the car carriers and stuff like that, those things get heavy. And I know, I'm 56, and I know I lost a lot of my upper body strength. I had a lot of upper body strength, more so than I do now when my kids were little, because I was constantly carrying pumpkin seats, car seats, packing them around. So you get lots of exercise taking care of your kids or your grandkids. So you must work out your heart to also make it stronger. Different types of physical activity, doctors and people involved with studying exercise, heart, they kind of broke down different exercise into different categories. Aerobic particularly strengthens your heart, and these are aerobic exercises: swimming, hiking, bike riding, soccer. These are things that you have to start, they'll make you start breathing heavy when you do them, okay? Aerobic exercises are when the body's large muscles move in a rhythmic manner for a sustained period of time. And so with aerobic exercise, it also involves dancing and stuff like that. So you keep sustaining this exercise for a period of time, you're going to start breathing harder, and that breathing harder and that exercise helps to make your heart stronger. Strengthening, this tends to strengthen your body muscles: rock climbing, push-ups, surfing, volleyball, wall sits. It's any time you apply resistance to your body that it's working against something, that also helps to strengthen your body. Simple wall sits will help strengthen your back and strengthen your legs. Facing a wall and using your arm and pushing off that wall will help strengthen your body. Flexibility is stretching, and here's some other things that can also, and these, like right here, dancing helps with aerobic, it helps with strengthening, it helps with flexibility. Gymnastics kind of helps with strengthening and also with flexibility. So some of these activities also overlap. Intensity is how much work, force, weight, or the magnitude of the effort is required to perform a physical activity or exercise. Generally, the more intense the exercise is, the sooner you'll start breathing heavier sometimes. And intensity is the amount of, sometimes repetitions or the amount of weight you're putting against it. A heart demo, this one I think is supposed to play from this website, but it doesn't, so I will put in a heart video for you. And another thing that we need to talk about is checking your pulse, okay? You need to know how to check your pulse. You need to take a resting pulse before you start exercising, and then take your pulse afterwards. Because if it's going up, then that indicates you're doing some work and you're getting some benefit. This here, we're not going to do this particular one. To take your pulse, you can check the pulse at the neck, the wrist, or the chest. They recommend the wrist. And this one's kind of hard to do, but it simply involves taking 2 fingers, placing it over your wrist. If I can get this in the view, okay. And you'll have to look for it sometimes. You'll have to feel around and try to find that pulse. And mine is hard to find sometimes. And so the other option is there's an artery in your neck, and you don't want to use your thumb because sometimes there's a pulse in your thumb, so you want to use your index finger and go up underneath your chin, and you can find your pulse. And so what you want to do, the easiest way to do it is you have to time yourself. You'll count your pulse beats for 10 seconds and then multiply it by 6, and that gives you your pulse for 1 minute. Okay, so you need to be able to do that. There's going to be an activity, a form where you're going to write down your resting pulse, and then after you exercise or move around for a bit, and then take your pulse again. So here's some stats on pulse. For most people, their resting heart rate is between 60 to 100 beats per minute. The better shape you're in, your resting pulse will be a lower number. Maximum heart rate depends on several factors, but in general, it can be calculated by subtracting your age from 220. Calculate your maximum heart rate on a sheet or on a piece of paper, and that's kind of where you want to get when you're exercising, or not. Don't go over that because you don't want to put your body into stress. Okay, so this is something we would do if we were in class. And here is something to know whether you're getting your heart rate up. Talk test. The talk test is a simple way to measure the relative intensity that you're exercising at. In general, if you're doing moderate intensity activity, you can talk, but you can't sing during the activity. If you're doing vigorous intensity, you will not be able to say more than a few words without pausing for a breath, okay? So if you can kind of talk and carry a conversation, but you couldn't be able to sing, that's moderate intensity. If you can talk and sing, you're probably not pushing yourself enough to get the maximum benefit of the exercise. Now remember, when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about people in general. Some people have health issues, so you need to be under a doctor's supervision to be exercising, okay? Or you need to talk with them about what you can do and what you can't do. All right. This is just a way, if you have some dice, you can assign a different activity to the dice, and when you roll that number, you would do like 10 jumping jacks. If you roll a 2, you would do like high knees. If you rolled a 3, you could do some squats. 4, you can do reaches up and down. If you rolled a 5, you could do bunny hops. 6 is a butt kicker run, okay? So there's different things you can use at home if you have. If you don't have a dice, you might have a spinner from a kid's game. You can assign a different exercise that's comfortable for you to do. So these are just some ways to find ways at home to exercise, okay? All right, so I'm going to let you go at this point, and then I'll be posting some more stuff later on. Thanks.